Hey guys, how you doing? We got some reports from the Pentagon that are being released publicly. Apparently they've had these reports since May 15th that Beijing is arming its man-made islands in the South China Sea. Now in this report, they talk about how they have different runways for aircrafts, about 24 hangars, different communication outposts being built on here, different administration buildings, fixed weapon positions. Basically, what they're saying is these artificial islands that China's built in the South China Sea, they've stopped building them, right? So the Chinese people, they've built these artificial islands, and what we're left with now is we're seeing them put different military vehicles, military buildings, and military aircraft on these islands. And why this is a big problem is because the South China Sea is as we've talked about before, the South China Sea is highly disputed between a number of nations. You've got Japan in the mix, the Philippines, Vietnam, Taiwan, China, Malaysia. There's a lot of different countries that claim ownership, at least to part of the water that surrounds these islands. And China went up and just made these islands. No one's really disputed them too often. I mean, in words, yes, everyone's got something to say. Rhetoric is being thrown around every day about these. But I mean, the only physical confrontation that we've seen is we've seen some Japanese vessels sail pretty close, some U.S. vessels sail pretty close, some U.S. aircraft at one point, I guess, quote-unquote, violated their airspace and were blasted warnings from the Chinese. Now, China creating these islands, making these islands in the South China Sea doesn't really help the situation, like, legally, but their influence is still there, and that's what they're trying to project there. For far too long, in their eyes, the U.S. has had this one superpower mentality. And after the last 8 years of Obama and his failed policies, his failed foreign policies, you've got countries like China and Russia starting to step up. China in the South China Sea and Russia in the Middle East, we're seeing it every day. And at some point, it's going to lead to some type of confrontation between these three countries. China arming these islands creates a type of regional concern over China's long-term intentions in the region. And that's something the U.S. and its allies in Southeast Asia are going to have to deal with. But guys, this is just a small update of what's going on in the South China Sea. China seems to want to be the big dog in the area, and we're going to have to see how the U.S. responds to that.